Hey, I'm Cody, and last December I read 7 books, so join me as I rank and review each and every one. At number 7,
The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So, in my notes here, I have emphasis on mid, which seems a little mean, but in The Midnight Library, we follow Nora Seed, who, after an attempt on her own life, is magically transported to the Midnight Library. In the Midnight Library, every single book on the shelf is a different life that Nora could have lived. By reading these different books, she gets to step into different lives and see what her life would be like had she made different choices. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like a really interesting premise. The issue is, they never really do anything interesting with that premise. Right from the very beginning of the novel, it's pretty clear what's gonna happen. Nora lays out every single regret she's ever had, and then we fall into the incredibly repetitive pattern of addressing each one of those regrets one by one by one. Each of these different lives she steps into, she's met with almost just comically horrible results. I think Carly Thorne mentioned this in her review of the book, but there is no subtlety at all. I mean, in the life where maybe she moved to Australia with her friend like she'd wanted to, everything's great, but her friend dies in a car crash. Or in the life where she kept playing piano, she was just so good at piano that her and her brother and their whole band became world famous rock stars. It is so famous, in fact, that her brother fucking dies of an overdose. None of that is her fault. And she brings up that fact. She gets back to the library and says, well, I mean, can I still live in the life where I moved to Australia, but things were just different enough that my friend doesn't get hit by a car? And the librarian's just like, no, doesn't work that way. Why not? So, on top of the book being really predictable and really repetitive, our POV character Nora is just so boring. I mean, it feels really mean to say that about a character who is struggling with depression, but she never gets more interesting. And because of the nature of the plot, where she's stepping into all of these different lives, we don't really have any other characters that stick around for us to be engaged with or for us to be invested in. So it's just us and Nora the whole time. Ultimately, I do really like the theming of the book. I like what it's trying to say. I like the idea that the life you're living right now really is your best life because it's yours and you can make what you want of it. I just really wish the book took a more interesting road to getting to that conclusion. Unfortunately, you kind of glean that from the first 12 or so pages, and so the rest of the book is a little bit of a slog, just reaffirming what was already made clear to the reader. Enjoyable, but I don't necessarily think anybody needs to read it. Midnight Library, for me, is a 2.75 out of 5.